Welcome back to TC Talk Sports, soon to be the best sports channel on all of YouTube. I'm doing a team preview for every single team in the NBA this season. I know the season has already started, but I'm almost done, so I have to finish, get them all out. Today's preview, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. Good year last year, not a great start to the year this year. How will the rest of the year shape up? Let's find out. If you're not subscribed by now, hit that subscribe button. Go over to TikTok, follow TC Talk Sports on TikTok. I post something on there and here every single day. Just subscribe, follow, do it. You won't regret it. As I mentioned, good year last year for the Bucks. They won 49-33, third best in the East. Made it to the playoffs, obviously, but lost in the first round to the Pacers. Giannis got hurt at the end of the season last year, so he didn't play in that playoff series. Pacers just had their way with the Bucks in that one. An early exit for Milwaukee last season. Expected to have a good year this year. It's not going so well right now, but we'll see how the rest of the year turns out. I'll have a full prediction for this team at the end of this video, so keep watching to see that. It might be a bit of a hot take. I don't know. It's definitely an interesting one, but you're definitely going to want to keep watching for that. Milwaukee Bucks, obviously you have to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Last year, he was second in the league in scoring, averaging 30.4 points per game. That was the second highest of his career as well. Set a career high, shooting 61% from the field. Sixth in the league in rebounds with 11.5 and set a career high with 6.5 assists. So a fantastic year for Giannis last year. I definitely think he has an MVP caliber season loading for this season. I have a bet with him to win MVP, but that's another discussion. But I think definitely another great year, not even good, great year for Giannis loading this year. I have a specific prediction for him at the end of this video. I think it's a good one. It might make Bucks fans upset, but I think it's right. It's going to come true. It's going to happen, so we'll just have to wait and see. Damian Lillard, acquired by the Bucks last season, or before last season, I guess. It was his first year in Milwaukee last year. He played 73 total games, so a pretty good sample size with him running the point in Milwaukee. He averaged 24.3 points per game, a little bit on the lower side of his career numbers. It was good enough for 16th best in the league. You know, he's a dangerous three-point shooter, one of the best three-point shooters in the history of the NBA. Shot 35.4% from beyond the arc and averaged 4.4 assists. Bucks were used to Drew Holiday and Eric Bledsoe many years ago running the point. They bring in a better offensive point guard in Damian Lillard. I mean, the Bucks played well with him and Giannis on the floor at the same time last year, and that's all the Bucks really wanted. However, I think last year's team was better than the roster it has this season. One big thing for me, in the offseason, there were reports that Dame and Giannis didn't even get to work out together throughout the entire offseason, and I think that's going to hurt them going into this season. Lillard, as of the recording of this video, has been out with a concussion, so we'll see when he comes back, but I don't think he'll miss too many games. Two of the best players in the game in Giannis and Lillard. They played well together last year. I expect the same this year, but really outside of those two guys, not a great team. Chris Middleton, maybe Bucks fans have forgot his name this season. He has yet to play a game for Milwaukee. Last year he dealt with injuries as well, limited to 55 games, but he did average 15.1 points per game, shot 49.3% from the field, the second highest of his career. And that's really what he does. He's not a big scorer. He's a great mid-range jumper, shooter. He can knock down threes, drive the rim. So, I mean, he can really score at all aspects of the game. We just haven't seen him yet in this 2025 season. Last year, 4.7 rebounds, 5.3 assists. He was kind of that secondary or tertiary, I believe that's the right word, ball handler for this team with Dame and Giannis. He is a good ball handler. Have yet to see that this season. I don't know if he's going to be able to play as well as he did last year, dealing with the injuries coming into this 2025 season. But again, just have to play the waiting game for the Bucks here. Bucks still have their center, Brook Lopez. I mean, he's nothing crazy. 7-footer. He can block shots in the paint, score down low. He can also shoot the three ball. We've seen his numbers increase throughout the last couple of years. I mean, he's not regarded as one of the better centers in the league, and I believe that that's true. He just does the little things for the Bucks. Not a crazy, flashy player at all. Tall, ugly, no handles really, but decent player, good piece for this Bucks team. Doc Rivers, surprisingly, is still the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks after the way they finished last season. I mean, so many jokes. Him and Darvin Ham were like the two most hated on coaches in the league. But he's back. The offseason, they lost a shooter in Malik Beasley, but they gained another shooter, signing Gary Trent Jr., last playing with the Toronto Raptors, also signing Taurean Prince, formerly on the LA Lakers. I mean, Gary Trent started the year for the Bucks, played piss poor, absolutely terrible. He probably made like 4 threes throughout the first 5 games, and that's basically all what he's known for. He's now coming off the bench as of the recording of this video. Prince, I mean, just an average year. He's nothing special, not a all-star caliber guy at all. I just don't think the Bucks did enough in the offseason to improve this roster. I mean, they have Giannis, one of the best players in the league, but the guys around him outside of Lillard and maybe Chris Middleton, depending on how he plays after his injury, just not a good or deep roster, I don't think, for Milwaukee. In the draft, they drafted A.J. Johnson with the 23rd overall pick. He's a small little guy, 6'4", 167. He is a good scorer. He's just small, and I think he needs a lot of time to develop in the NBA. I don't really see him being a good NBA player. I mean, he can score, he's quick, he can dribble in transition, but I just don't think he's going to have any sort of impact for this team this year. Wouldn't be surprised if he spends most of the year in the G League. Interesting pick for the Bucks. Not really sure why they risked a first-round pick even on A.J. Johnson. This wasn't a great draft class, but we are seeing some of those rookies from the first round making impacts for their teams already. A.J. Johnson, I just think it's going to take years and years for him to develop to be even a decent NBA player. Every preview, I do a player to watch section. This player to watch, A.J. Green. No, not the Hall of Fame wide receiver from the Bengals. Don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame. He'll probably end up there, but really good wide receiver for the Bengals. This is not him. A.J. Green for the Bucks. Coming into his 3rd year in the league. Last year he played 56 games, 11 minutes per game, only 4.5 points per game, but he shot 40.8% from 3, and that's literally all he is. Stand behind the arc, throw him the ball. He's going to catch and shoot. Not too much of a dribbler or a guy that can score in the paint. I kind of compare him to Duncan Robinson from the Miami Heat. Not as good of a catch and shoot 3 type of guy like Uncle Dunkles has been for the Heat the last couple years. But coming off the bench, he started the last 2 games, I believe, of the recording of this video currently. I mean, he's just a really good 3-point shooter. There's no other way to put it. That's basically all he does. Whether he's starting or coming off the bench, he's good for a couple 3-pointers a night to maybe help out the Bucks. Again, not too big of a guy that's going to make too big of an impact for this Bucks team. Another guy to watch out for that I really like, and I feel like casual NBA fans will start to like as they see him more, is Andre Jackson Jr. He's been starting some games, coming off the bench for games, but he just brings the energy, the intensity on the defensive side of the floor. He can shoot, dribble, pass. I think he's not the best 3-point shooter. His best ability is with the ball in transition. He can fly down the floor, get to the rim, score at the basket. Not a great 3-point shooter, but definitely an energy, a glue type of guy. He was on that championship UConn team 3 years ago, so he knows how to win. He just brings the intensity every single time he steps on the floor, whether he plays 4 minutes or 30 minutes. We've seen him with increased minutes so far this year for the Bucks. I think that's going to continue throughout this season. He is a good player. Definitely keep your eye on A.J. Green and Andre Jackson Jr. Finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, prediction time for the Milwaukee Bucks. Coming into this season, I didn't think they would start as bad as they did. But without Middleton, I think they lose a couple games there without him. But overall, I think best case right now, this Milwaukee Bucks team is going to be a play-in team come the end of the season. The East has a lot of really good teams this year. Bucks have just looked like ass, really. No way to sugarcoat that. They've sucked so far this season. I think they'll find their groove a little bit as the season goes on, but I don't see them really being a top 4, top 5 team. Maybe slide into that 6th spot, but I mean, like the way the Magic are playing right now without MVP candidate Paolo Banchero, I don't even see them being better than the Magic without Banchero. Maybe a 6th seed if they're lucky, but I think they're going to be fighting for a play-in spot. And I almost forgot my single prediction for Giannis himself. There were rumors about him being traded, him wanting to leave Milwaukee. I don't think he necessarily really wants to leave, but if this team is going to be this bad, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets traded or signed by another team. So my actual prediction that I'm putting on camera, by the end of the season, Giannis Antetokounmpo will no longer be wearing a Milwaukee Bucks jersey.